Ambition. It's a small word, but it can change everything. It can take a farm boy from Idaho and turn him into a millionaire. It can take a single mother and make her the leader of a company. It can take you from where you are to places you've only imagined. Ambition is the fuel that drives the engine of success. Without ambition, dreams stay dreams. Without ambition, potential stays buried. Without ambition, life stays the same. But with ambition, doors open. Opportunities appear. You rise above the crowd, not because you're lucky, but because you decided to. See, ambition is different from hope. Hope is wishing. Ambition is working. Hope says, I'd like to. Ambition says, I will. Hope waits for the right time. Ambition makes the time. But here's the truth. Ambition is not given. It's grown. It's nurtured. It's built one decision, one choice, one action at a time. And if you'll feed it, protect it, and direct it, ambition will take you further than talent alone ever could. We're going to talk about where ambition comes from, how to guide it so it works for you, the enemies that can steal it from you, and how to build a life that's fueled by it every single day. Because if you can master ambition, you can master the direction of your life. You can't buy it. You can't borrow it. No one can hand it to you. Ambition, you have to find it for yourself. But when you do, it changes everything. I've seen people with incredible talent, but no ambition. And I've seen people with very little talent, but a fire so strong they outran everyone else. That fire is ambition. Ambition is the fuel that drives you to reach for the stars. But it's discipline that keeps you climbing when the stars feel far away. And here's what I've learned. Ambition is not just wanting more. It's deciding to become more. When I was a young man, I was broke. I was behind on my promises. I had more month than money. I met a mentor who looked me in the eye and said, Jim, it's not the money you lack. It's not the time you lack. It's the ambition you lack. That stung because deep down, I knew he was right. I wanted things to change, but I hadn't decided to change myself. See, ambition is not a wish. It's not a fantasy. It's not sitting around daydreaming about a better life. Ambition is that inner decision that says, no more excuses, no more waiting, no more drifting. I will move. It's when you go from hoping to committing. Here's the truth. You can't buy ambition in a bottle. You can't find it in a store. It's not for sale on the shelf, but you can awaken it. And often, it starts with discontent. You get tired of being behind, tired of not keeping promises to yourself, tired of being stuck where you are. That's when ambition knocks and says, are you ready? Now, ambition can be small or great. Small ambition says, I hope I can just get by. Great ambition says, I will create something extraordinary. Which one do you think will build a better life? Let me warn you, without ambition, life becomes mechanical. Wake up, work, eat, sleep, repeat. Ambition gives life color. It's the spark that makes you jump out of bed in the morning. It's the vision that makes the grind worth it. But here's what's important. Ambition must be fed. If you don't feed it, it fades. Feed it with ideas. Feed it with challenges. Feed it with people who think bigger. Because you can't hang around the lazy and expect to stay ambitious. My mentor told me something that hit me hard. Jim, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you're surrounded by those who have lost their fire, it's only a matter of time before yours goes dim too. So find people who dream big, who push themselves, who hold themselves to a higher standard. Their ambition will fuel yours. Now, ambition alone is not enough. You need discipline, skill, and a plan. But ambition is where it starts, because ambition will make you read when others watch television. Ambition will make you work while others sleep. Ambition will make you try again when others quit. You might ask, how do I know if I have ambition? Simple. Look at your daily actions. Are you pushing? Are you learning? Are you moving towards something bigger? Or are you just floating, hoping things will get better? Ambition is the architect of your future. Without it, there's nothing to build. With it, even the impossible becomes possible. And I'll tell you something. You don't need anyone's permission to be ambitious. You don't need the world to agree with you. You just need to decide. The good news? Ambition can be developed. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. You start with small goals, then bigger goals. Then, before you know it, you're aiming for something you once thought was out of reach. So here's my challenge to you. Don't settle for a small life when a great one is available. Don't let fear keep you from the next step. And don't ever let someone talk you out of your dreams. Because one day, you'll look back and you'll either be glad you went for it or you'll wish you had. Ambition is the spark. But here's the key, you've got to light it and keep it lit. We're going to talk about where ambition comes from and how to cultivate it until it becomes unstoppable. Because if you can learn to direct your ambition, you can rewrite your future. Ambition, it doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It's planted, it's cultivated, and then it grows. But here's the key, the soil it grows in is your mind. Some people think ambition is something you're born with, like it's in your DNA. But I don't believe that. I believe ambition can be awakened. It can be inspired. It can be taught. The question is, what wakes it up? For me, it started with a problem, a big problem. I was broke. I was embarrassed. And I was tired of being tired. Sometimes, ambition starts with discomfort. When the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of change, that's when you move. Disgust and resolve are two of the greatest motivators. Disgust says, I will not live like this anymore. Resolve says, I will do whatever it takes to change it. Those two together can ignite ambition like nothing else. But ambition can also come from inspiration. Sometimes, you see someone else living a better life. And instead of feeling jealous, you feel motivated. You think, if they can do it, maybe I can too. I remember meeting a man in my 20s. He wasn't famous. He wasn't flashy, but he had freedom. He had choices, and he had time. I asked him how he got it. He smiled and said, by deciding not to waste mine. Those words stayed with me. I realized I had been wasting my time, and my ambition started to wake up. Another source of ambition? Vision. If you can see a better future in your mind, you can start moving toward it. That's why it's so important to feed your imagination. Read books that make you think bigger. Spend time in places that expand your perspective. Talk to people who challenge you to grow, because what you see affects what you want. And what you want fuels your ambition. But there's a danger here. Some people confuse ambition with greed. Greed says, I want more for me, no matter who gets hurt. Ambition says, I want to become more so I can give more, contribute more, and live more. One is selfish. The other is life-giving. If your ambition is only about getting, you'll burn out. If it's about becoming, you'll never run out of fuel. Now, where else does ambition come from? It comes from standards, what you're willing to accept, and what you're not. If your standards are low, you won't stretch. If your standards are high, you'll work to meet them. So ask yourself, what am I tolerating? What am I allowing to stay the same in my life that I know needs to change? Raise your standards, and your ambition will rise to meet them. One more place ambition comes from, and this might surprise you, is gratitude. Some people think gratitude makes you content and passive. But real gratitude fuels action. When you're truly grateful for the opportunity to be alive, to learn, to grow, you don't waste it. You say, I've been given this chance, I won't squander it. That's ambition in motion. So, let's sum it up. Ambition can come from disgust with your current reality, inspiration from someone else's example, vision for a better future, higher personal standards, deep gratitude for the chance to live and grow. Sometimes it's one of these. Sometimes it's all of them at once. But here's the catch. Once ambition is awakened, you have to protect it. Because the world will try to put it back to sleep. You'll hear things like, don't aim so high. Just be realistic. Why work so hard? Ignore that. They're talking to you from their level of ambition, not yours. Ambition is personal. No one else has to understand it. No one else has to agree with it. It's your fire to tend. And here's the beautiful part. The more you act on your ambition, the stronger it gets, which means you can build it. So if you feel like your ambition is low, don't wait for it to magically appear. Start by changing your environment. Get around people who inspire you. Fill your mind with books, ideas, and goals that stretch you. Look honestly at what you want and what you're no longer willing to accept. Do that, and you'll feel it, that little spark inside, starting to burn again. Next, we're going to talk about how to direct your ambition. Because raw ambition is powerful, but focused ambition, that's unstoppable. Ambition is powerful, but only if it's pointed in the right direction. See, ambition without direction is like a race car with no steering wheel. It's energy without aim. You might go fast, but you'll end up in a ditch. Without a plan, you're like a sailboat without a rudder. You drift, and the wind decides where you end up. Ambition gives you the wind. Direction gives you the rudder. You need both. Now, how do you direct your ambition? It starts with clarity. You've got to know what you want and why you want it. Not just a vague, I want to be successful. That's not clear enough. What does success look like for you? More importantly, what does it feel like? The clearer the picture in your mind, the easier it is to aim your ambition toward it. When I was younger, I made a list. A real list. Not just thoughts floating in my head. I wrote down everything I wanted, big and small. Places I wanted to go. Skills I wanted to learn. Things I wanted to have. People I wanted to meet. And you know what happened? I started seeing opportunities I had missed before. It's like my mind got a new filter. Suddenly, it was looking for ways to move me toward my list. Here's a principle you've got to remember. The mind is like a magnet. It attracts what it's focused on. If you're always focused on problems, you attract more problems. If you're focused on solutions, growth, and opportunity, you start seeing them everywhere. That's how you direct ambition. By pointing your focus toward where you want to go, not where you've been. But clarity alone isn't enough. You also need priorities. Because here's the truth. You can't chase everything at once. If you try to run in 10 directions, you go nowhere fast. So pick the few things that matter most. The things that will make the biggest difference. Then pour your ambition into those. A mentor told me once, Jim, don't spend major time on minor things. That's worth writing down. Because some people waste their ambition on things that don't matter. They win arguments on social media. They memorize sports stats. They chase approval from people they don't even respect. That's not ambition. That's distraction. Another way to direct your ambition, build a strategy. A strategy answers 3 questions. Where am I now? Where do I want to be? How will I get there? Without those answers, you're just hoping. And hope is not a strategy. But here's something important. Your strategy has to be flexible. Life changes. Opportunities shift. What you thought was the road. If your plan is rigid, you break. If it's flexible, you bend and keep moving forward. Ambition without adaptability is stubbornness. Ambition with adaptability is unstoppable. Now, let's talk about fuel, because even with direction, ambition runs on energy. And that energy comes from 2 places. Desire for something better, discontent with where you are. It's like 2 engines working together. One pulls you toward the future. The other pushes you away from the past. Use them both. But be careful. Directing ambition also means protecting it. Don't share your biggest dreams with people who only know how to shoot them down. Some people don't mean harm, they just can't see what you see. They'll project their limits onto your vision. That's why you need a circle that fuels your ambition, not drains it. Here's another thought. Directing your ambition means tying it to something bigger than yourself. If your ambition only benefits you, it can become hollow. But if your ambition benefits your family, your community, the world, you'll fight harder for it. Because now it's not just about what you get. It's about who you become and who you can help along the way. So, to direct your ambition, get clear on exactly what you want. Set priorities, don't chase everything. Build a flexible strategy. Protect your vision from small thinkers. Connect your ambition to a higher purpose. Do that, and your ambition will have both power and aim. A river without banks becomes a swamp. Ambition without direction becomes frustration. But when ambition has banks, a clear path, a clear goal, it gains force, it gains focus, and it becomes unstoppable. Next, we're going to talk about the enemies of ambition, what can steal your fire, and how to protect it for the long journey ahead. Because sometimes, knowing what to avoid is just as important as knowing what to do. Ambition is precious. It's your fire. It's what keeps you moving when things get hard. But it has enemies. And if you're not careful, those enemies will steal it, quietly, little by little, until one day you look up and realize it's gone. We must all wage an intense, lifelong battle against the constant downward pull. If we relax, the bugs and weeds of negativity will move into the garden. Ambition is that garden. You've got to protect it. Enemy 1, negativity. Negativity is ambition's silent killer. It creeps in through the news, through gossip, through small conversations with small thinkers. You know the type. They always see why it won't work. They remind you of every failure you've ever had. They tell you, be realistic, which usually means come back down to my level. If you let enough of that in, your fire starts to go out. So you've got to guard your mind, filter what you let in, because what gets in your mind will eventually get in your life. Enemy 2, comfort. Comfort is sneaky. It tells you, you've done enough. You deserve to rest. Now listen, rest is good, but comfort, when it turns into complacency, is deadly. See, the problem with comfort is it's addictive. Once you settle, it's harder to move, and ambition hates to sit still. Comfort says, stay here, it's safe. Ambition says, go there, it's worth it. Don't let comfort talk you out of your future. Enemy 3, doubt. Doubt whispers, maybe you're not good enough. Maybe it's too late. Maybe you should just give up. Doubt is ambition's internal enemy. It doesn't come from outside, it's already in you. But here's the truth, doubt is a liar. You don't have to feel confident to move forward. You just have to move. Action is the cure for doubt. Do the thing, even if your hands are shaking. Enemy 4, distraction. Distraction doesn't kill ambition in one blow. It starves it by feeding it crumbs instead of meals. Scrolling, binge watching, constant busyness with no progress. You think you're working, but you're just spinning your wheels. That's why you need focus. That's why you need priorities. Because ambition without focus drifts, and drifting never leads anywhere good. Enemy 5, fear of criticism. Here's a hard truth. If you have big ambition, you will be criticized. Some people will misunderstand you. Some will envy you. Some will try to pull you back down because your ambition reminds them of what they're not doing. If you can't handle that, your ambition will shrink to fit their comfort zone. Don't let other people's opinion be the ceiling on your life. Enemy 6, low standards. This one's subtle. If you expect little from yourself, you'll achieve little. If you tolerate mediocrity in your work, in your habits, in your relationships, your ambition has no reason to stretch. Raising your standards is one of the fastest ways to feed your ambition. When you expect more, you become more. Enemy 7, isolation. Ambition is personal, yes, but it's not meant to grow alone. You need other voices. You need examples to follow. You need people who challenge you, push you, and remind you of what's possible. Isolation dries up ambition. Community fuels it. Get around people whose ambition makes you uncomfortable because they'll pull you higher. Now, here's the good news. You can fight every one of these enemies. How? By doing the opposite. Guard your mind against negativity. Stay just uncomfortable enough to keep moving. Replace doubt with action. Swap distraction for focus. Expect criticism and keep going anyway. Raise your standards every year. Stay connected to ambitious people. Remember, the enemies of ambition don't show up all at once. They sneak in, which means you've got to check yourself regularly. Ask, am I thinking bigger or smaller? Am I moving forward or standing still? Am I surrounded by dreamers or complainers? Your answers will tell you whether your ambition is growing or dying. Discipline weighs ounces. It takes discipline to protect your ambition. But it's worth it because the cost of losing it is far greater. Next, we'll talk about building a life fueled by ambition. How to turn that inner fire into daily action, long-term vision, and a life that inspires others. Because ambition is not just about getting, it's about becoming. Ambition is not a spark you use once. It's the fire you keep alive for a lifetime. It's not just about reaching one goal. It's about living a life where goals never stop. A life that keeps expanding, keeps growing, keeps challenging you to be more than you were yesterday. Set a goal to become a millionaire, not for the $1 million, but for what it will make of you to achieve it. That's the point of ambition. Not the thing you get, but the person you become in the process. So how do you build a life fueled by ambition? First, create a vision bigger than a single achievement. If your ambition ends the moment you hit a target, you'll slow down. You'll lose that fire. But if your ambition is tied to a bigger vision, a vision for your family, your community, your contribution to the world, then every achievement becomes a stepping stone, not a finish line. The day after you reach one goal, you'll already be on to the next. Second, live by principles, not just plans. Plans can fail. Markets change. Opportunities shift. But principles stay the same. Integrity, hard work, discipline, excellence. When you build your life around principles, your ambition has a foundation. No matter what changes, you don't. Third, build ambition into your daily habits. Ambition isn't just for the big moments. It's for today. For right now. It's in the book you read instead of the television you watch. It's in the conversation you have instead of the gossip you avoid. It's in making the call, sending the email, taking the step, even when you don't feel like it. A life fueled by ambition is built one small choice at a time. Fourth, surround yourself with people who lift you higher. If you're the most ambitious person in your circle is too small. You need people whose vision makes yours feel too small. People who challenge you to think bigger. People who've already gone where you want to go and are willing to show you the way. Your environment either feeds your ambition or starves it. Choose it carefully. Fifth, keep your ambition balanced. Ambition is powerful, but if it's unbalanced, it can destroy. If you chase wealth but neglect health, you'll lose both. If you chase achievement but neglect relationships, you'll end up successful and alone. A truly ambitious life seeks growth in all areas. Health, wealth, relationships, contribution, personal growth, and joy. That's a life worth building. Sixth, give your ambition away. The most powerful ambition is not the one that ends with you. It's when your ambition inspires someone else. When your example lights a spark in your kids, your friends, your community. Ambition multiplies when it's shared. That's why leaders don't just achieve, they teach. They mentor. They lift others while they climb. Seventh, never stop asking, what's next? The moment you think you've arrived, you're done. Not because there's anything wrong with celebrating success, but because ambition is a muscle. If you stop using it, it gets weak. So when you hit a big goal, smile, celebrate, then say, what's next? I remember a mentor telling me, Jim, you can't pour from an empty cup, but you also can't keep a cup full if you never refill it. That's ambition. It's the refilling, the constant reaching, the decision to keep becoming more, not because you have to, but because you can. Here's the truth. A life fueled by ambition is not for everyone. It's uncomfortable. It's challenging. It's demanding. But it's also exciting, fulfilling, and deeply rewarding. So, here's my challenge to you. Don't just have ambition for a moment. Build it into the way you live. Let it shape the way you think, the way you work, the way you love, the way you contribute. Because when ambition becomes your way of life, there's no limit to what you can achieve or to the person you can become. The ultimate reason for setting goals is to entice you to become the person it takes to achieve them. That's the beauty of ambition. It doesn't just get you more, it makes you more. Now go build that life. Not tomorrow, not next week. Start today and never let the fire go out. Well, my friend, we've talked about the spark of ambition, where it comes from, how to direct it, the enemies that will try to destroy it, and how to build a life that runs on it day after day, year after year. But now it comes down to you, because ambition, it's personal. It's not something someone can hand you. No one can light it for you. At best, I can bring the match. I can bring the wood. I can tell you where the fire pit is. But only you can strike the flame. Without a sense of urgency, desire loses its value. Ambition without action is just a wish. It's a nice thought with no real future. So the question is not, do you want a better life? Of course you do. The real question is, are you willing to do what it takes? Are you willing to protect your ambition from every distraction? Every excuse, every temptation to give up. See, here's the truth. Your ambition is not just about you. Yes, it will change your life. Yes, it will bring you opportunities, success, and growth. But it will also affect everyone around you. Your family, your friends, your community. When you live with ambition, you become an example. You show people what's possible. You prove that ordinary people can do extraordinary things if they're willing to pay the price. And make no mistake, there is a price. The price of discipline, the price of focus, the price of working while others rest, the price of doing the uncomfortable thing over and over again until it becomes your new normal. But that price is tiny compared to the cost of regret. Here's the good news. You don't need to have it all figured out today. You don't need to be fearless. You don't need to know the how of everything. You just need to decide. Decide that your ambition matters. Decide that you will not waste this life. Decide that starting now, you will fan the flame every single day. Because the truth is, the future doesn't belong to the most talented. It doesn't belong to the most connected. It doesn't even belong to the smartest. It belongs to the most ambitious, the ones who want it the most, and refuse to stop until they get it. So my final encouragement to you is simple. Protect your ambition. Feed it daily. Surround it with people who will challenge it. And never let it go out. Because if you keep that fire alive, you'll not only achieve more than you ever imagined, you'll become more than you ever believed possible. Now, go light your fire and keep it burning